Good morning again, everybody. If you read on the agenda, it is supposed that this panel is moderated by Mr. Uri Borstein, but he is not able to come here. He's from Tel Aviv, and in these days, he's facing difficulties with his family. So I will substitute him in this panel about the impact of monitoring smart cities and environment through UAS. And let me introduce the topics of this panel, and then after that, the panelists themselves that will discuss with me. Let's say that practical and theoretical integration of drones into our daily life, especially under the definition of smart city, is accelerating. And documents are written, studies are made, and conferences like today are taking place all over the world. Still, since the guidelines and the perception of smart cities is dedicated mainly by the public and national sector, in example, national authorities, regulators, and municipalities. But the actual integration is very long and entails multiple objective obstacles led by regulation and analyzing the risk associated with the urban and suburban drone integration. Monitoring smart cities and infrastructure, construction site, port activities, looking for illegal activities, example, waste dumpings, traffic, monitoring the environment for increase of preparedness to emergency and disaster situations are very relevant missions for drones, from obvious relative advantage inherent in this platform and benefits from 5G communication network, IoT, and data management capacity. However, alongside drone operation benefits, some serious questions require clear and reasoned answers before we see drones all over the city. And this panel is composed by very different persons, and I'm excited to learn from them what they are doing to accelerate this change. So let me introduce, first of all, I'm Antonio Zilli, you already know me, but we have a representative of the city of Bari, in particular the director for the actuation of the plan, Mr. Luigi Ranieri, which is remotely connected because he's involved in another other initiative today. Is he connected? He said to me that it is waiting for approval to enter in the room. Not anymore? Okay. Then I have here the president of the Port Network Authority of the Ionian Sea, Port of Taranto, Mr. Sergio Prete. Please come on with us. Mr. Tomer Serok, from Vice President Sales and Marketing of Airways Drones. Marco Buscemi, Program Manager of Dronus. Alberto Mennella, Innovation Manager in TopView. And Alon Abelson, Islander, CEO Islander. Let me just let's try to connect with Mr. Ranieri. So, all of you are very involved in introducing UAS operations into smart city and smart environments like ports. I would like to start from Tom Serok from Airways, and I know you have a relevant role in the introduction and the future commercialization of innovative aerial services into the port of Rotterdam. That's one of the leading areas all over Europe for this kind of initiative. Can you tell us which is the role of Airways in this operation, the role of the Port Authority in this innovative action, and if any other legal entities that are involved in the realization of this preliminary important initiative and that make all of them make it happen, and which is, I would like to stress this point, which is the need, the business need that drones and all these, let me say, game are going to solve. Please.
You have the slides?
Yeah, you can use your microphone.
No, I mean the slides.
Who is slide? Just one moment, Tom. worked perfectly all the days. Sorry for that.
Il dottore
Thomas Serok.
Thomas.
They just lost the order of the presentations, maybe. Sorry, one moment.
There's a problem.
Yeah. I'll get it.
It's coming. It's coming. Anyway, but you can introduce yourself, first of all.
Sure. Hello, everyone.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah. My name is Thomas Serok from Airways, VP Sales and Marketing, and I'm basically responsible for the business development outside of Israel. And here's my first slide. Just like Antonio said, we're looking at basically two types of this kind of ecosystem. So we're looking at property owners, such as seaports, which basically they want to run their own airspace. They say, anybody operating in our airspace is either us or our client, so there's no reason for us not to be able to manage our own VLL. The other one are smart cities, which I'm not going to go to now. I'm going to talk about the project, as Antonio said, in the Port of Rotterdam. I think the reason for this type of project is quite clear to everybody. I mean, I've been sitting here for a day and a half now, and there was lots of discussions about the benefits property owners and cities will get from it. Maybe you can go to the next slide. So just a few words about the Port of Rotterdam, what was there before, what's happening there now, and what's going to be there in the future. Port of Rotterdam is quite large. It's 40 kilometers on 10. There are already, before we started, 20 drone operators, which represent something like 100 or 150 drones, daily activities. There are 9 heliports in and around the port. Some of them belong to the port. Some of them just need to cross to bring different services. For example, the Hospital of Rotterdam sometimes need to send a helicopter to the south of the port. And Port of Rotterdam is a port authority. They have 3,000 commercial organizations working within the port. And the drone operators, 15 of them are commercial, and they're basically serving those organizations. 5 of them are government, so port police, custom, fire department, etc. The goals of the project, as defined by the Port of Rotterdam when they published the RFP, was risk reduction. That's the first one. In my conversation with some of the heliports, for example, there's the big heliport on the west side of the port, they said that in 2020 they had 6 near misses with drones. So we can do this, but we can't. This thing will happen. So it's first of all, there was risk reduction for what exists. And the other reason for this project is really to have more of the services they already do, those 15 operators or 20 operators. They already do inspection, doing asset monitoring, they do search and rescue, security, looking for smuggling, etc. Those operations exist, but before you have a system to manage this ecosystem, it's have to be fully segregated. So the idea was to make this thing fly basically freely around the port, do whatever need to be done in a massive scale, and the only way to do it is, of course, to have a proper ecosystem with the UTM on it. Another service adding, and I'll talk about it in a minute a bit more, is adding service to ships on anchorage, which there's not much service today, but they want to add more service to ships that are basically on anchorage outside of the port, 2 kilometers, 30 kilometers from the shore, etc. The scope, of course, is integration. Lots of integration, as Antonio said, integration to the drone operators, of the drone operators, to the UTM system. Need to get manned aviation information so you can have a full aerial picture, different sensors, GIS, harbor master. You know, the big ships are like moving GIS at the end, so you need to know where they are, not just avoid them. Sometimes you need to land on them, to service them. Allowing safe coexistence of manned and unmanned, of course, and expansion to the anchorage area, and to the CTR area, and to the city of Rotterdam itself. The next slides, please. Whoops, that's one too much. Okay, thanks. So this is the first project in the world, as far as I know, not that one, the one before. The first project in the world, as far as I know, that is actually have a full-on ecosystem, and the UTM is doing tactical deconfliction, airspace reconfiguration for manned aviation, everything around one full aerial picture. Of course, lots of integration, so integration to the drone operators. I had a discussion here with one of the operators here, that not all the drones operators are ready for full integration with an API, tactical deconfliction, with reporting their position. So for some operators, we have kind of a before you fly up, so they can close an area, but some of them are already advanced and they want to do BVLOS flights in and around. Integration to the GIS, integration to the harbor master, drone detection systems, radar and sniffers, RF-based. Manned aviation information need to come in as well. So again, full aerial picture. As I mentioned, the web app for operators which are manual operators and very basic. And the port set up the airspace center, which I don't have a photo. This is the training. The photo is the training of the airspace center controllers. Ghost operator. Ghost operator means that some of the covered ops would not be seen by the rest of the commercial operators. So, and of course, prioritization, a dynamic airspace reconfiguration to avoid those near misses or, God forbid, accidents with manned aviation. Expansion to the CTR. So we're working with NLR, which you got a representative here, about UTM, NTM integration, so we can actually operate under the CTR of Rotterdam Hague Airport. An extension to the anchorage area, so things like remote inspection and also delivery of spare parts, medical documentation, food to the ships, etc. For that, we need information, of course, about the manned aviation operating in the British Channel. And the parties involved, the last question you asked, there's NLR, of course, which is doing lots of work there, LVNL, the local NSP, the Civil Aviation Authority, of course, Municipality of Rotterdam, and quite a few other organizations. And there's also very interesting initiatives in the south of Holland. Hollandite drone port is probably the most interesting one, which is a gathering of different organizations, government-related, at the port of Rotterdam, and trying to build more of an excellence center to get this to the next level, basically. So this is in a nutshell.
Thank you very much. Indeed, this port event or initiative is very challenging, and we have in mind this kind of initiative when we start a collaboration with the port, the authority, Port Network Authority of the Union Seaport of Taranto. So, Mr. Preda, I would like to ask you that we met 3 months ago about in the port of Taranto, and we proposed you to participate to this event to support some drone service experimentation in the Port Authority. And I guess that only your enthusiastic support made it happen. And today in the afternoon you will see some demonstrations, some operations that we realized last week in the port area of Taranto. A few days ago, Flying Basket experimented offshore delivery service, and it will be this afternoon again. The Port of Rotterdam is paving the way. That's we saw. But do you think that we can walk in this with the same pace and in this line? And which is the main need the Port of Taranto as that drones can support in solving? So, please.
Yes, good morning, and thanks for the invitation. And the Port of Rotterdam is the main European port. The Port of Taranto is much is not as a large port, and we don't have a port in Italy like the port of Rotterdam, but we have an old relationship, a cooperation with the port of Rotterdam, because we signed a memorandum in 2012, and then we have a good relationship with the port accelerator, Port Excel, the accelerator of startup in Rotterdam, and the Port Excel is the strategic partner of the first accelerator about the blue economy in Italy, located in Taranto, and started with the cooperation of the National Public Bank, Cassa Depositi e Prestiti. And then we signed a memorandum before with the European Space Agency, and then with the Aerospace Technical District of Apulia region. And we start the test of the aerospace technology in the port, and also because we want to follow the example of Rotterdam, of Singapore, also some other big ports as Dubai or Abu Dhabi. And we think that the technology of aerospace is the most important, the most new technology, and it will be very useful for the port. Not only for monitoring environment and infrastructure, but also for logistics. And for this reason, we signed a memorandum, and we start in these days with the cooperation. And the port that use an intensive technology like digitalization or aerospace technology are indicated from the maritime doctrine as the port of the fifth generation. We want to be a port of fifth generation. We are not very big, but we want to give our support to the development of this technology. And then we are very happy that we have the airport of Grottaglie very close to the port of Taranto. It's in province of Taranto, so it's possible to develop together other technology for logistic or for monitoring. So we are very happy about this cooperation, and we want to continue that. Thank you.
Thank you, and I think that it is a very effective initiatives that we are moving on. Oh, Mr. Ranieri is connected. Can you hear me?
Sì, grazie.
Oh, welcome. Mr. Ranieri is the director for the actuation of the program of the city of Bari. He works in the cabinet of the mayor. So the municipality of Bari is supporting the experimentations we are realizing in Bari. We realized in Bari in the last 3 years, and these days you had the opportunity to see many of them. And it is clear, in the collaboration we had with the municipality of Bari, it was clear to us that the environmental and urban monitoring services are the main need of the public administration, and to improve its short and long-term decision-making process. Now, Mr. Ranieri, do you think the system is ready to start serving the needs of Bari? And if not, which aspect need more effort? The maturity of technology, of the solutions, the infrastructure of the urban infrastructure, or the public acceptance? And last possible question is, which is if the economic issue has any impact on providing services to the public administration?
Thank you for this question. Now in Bari, we are involved in many research projects and testing on this topic. Since 3 years ago, we promote a new strategy for Bari that transforms Bari in Bari Legal Lab, which hosts all the partnership, public bodies and private bodies to experiment new technologies in the challenge of the future of the mobility in urban area. And one of the challenges was the challenge of high mobility and UAS. In this challenge and the data of this experimentation, this test, confirm that the challenge is a holistic challenge. And the approach is a systemic approach. We are measuring the point of view of the technology, we are measuring the point of view of ET. We are not measuring from the point of view of legislation issue and regulation issues. This is the first important topic. We have to work a lot to define all the procedures, all the processes from a managerial and administrative point of view. And this is a challenge of all the public bodies on this topic. Also, the systemic approach, we need a systemic approach to integrate this kind of mobility in the urban system. This is one of our problems now, because we are involved in many tests point to point. We are involved for the transportation of medical equipment from one point to other point. We are involved in test in logistics from move goods from one logistic point to the consumer, but we have not yet approached the problem in a systemic way, the integration with other kind of mobility. Now we are involved in this kind of research. We are involved in a project that is called the Income Project. And the topic of this project is about the community connection system, where all the objects, where all the vehicles that live in and work in a city are cooperated together to the solution of this problem. This is an example of our trajectory, of strategic trajectory, because we need a new era of testing process, a new era of research project, in which we don't focus only on the technology or the test of technology, but we focus on a systemic approach, holistic approach that involve all the actors and all the objects that are in the future will be operated for the mobility in urban area.
Thank you. Great points. And now we have received the point of view of the municipality. I would like to ask to Mr. Abelson about the barrier you are perceiving in reaching the market of the smart cities, in particular for Bari. We are working on collaborating on the project Drone Tech to set up a service for the city of Bari. Which is the expectation about which are the main barriers you expect to face, and how then move toward the holistic approach as Mr. Ranieri asked for?
Yeah, so a little bit about the project that we currently doing with Bari municipality, actually including the police, including DTA, Uniba, also a company called Cytec from Israel that they're responsible to do real-time analytics. I think the idea is to use aerial point of view in order to help what we call environmental enforcement or aerial environmental enforcement. And this is only one step, because also the municipality of Bari talking about the ecosystem and the barriers when you are trying to build full ecosystem and not specific mission. And in this case, I think the main target of our involvement is to build what we call smart cities or aerial smart cities, while the idea is actually or the main barriers that we can find in this area is one of them what we call the scalability of using drones. If we'll take a look at the skies, there are actually, and this is a picture of Bari, and now we are monitoring the area, but the idea in the background is that to do this ecosystem, to take this ecosystem to be scalable, first of all, you need what we call drone fleet management solution. And for that, Islander providing a solution that called the Orion drone fleet management that helping to manage multi-drones, but also empowering the individual drone by using analytics and using the ability to manage everything remotely. Because at the end, it's not make sense to manage or to fly the drones manually. And the idea and the numbers that we are talking is 1, 10, 100, when one command center will be able to manage 10 drones at the same time, they're doing at least 100 missions. In this case, we will find that we are in a good position comparing to the traditional solutions. And this is what Islander are trying to bring to the market. We are trying to build at the layer of what we call the VLL altitude, the very low level altitude from the aspect of managing multi-drones. But on the other hand, we also understand that another barrier is how we can manage the manned and the unmanned aviation, and this is what you can see in the picture. The idea of manned and unmanned aviation flying at the same level of altitude is something that our Vega UTM taking responsibility to manage these conflicts. And I think also we always discuss about the strategic and tactical deconfliction, but first of all, the ability to do monitoring and tracking, geo-awareness, and also flight authorization. So these two solutions is part of what Islander and the full umbrella that we are providing to the municipality in order to create scalable, smart cities.
Oh, that's great. So I understand that the needs of the public administration, like the port or the city of Bari, are in the pipeline of the industry. I now move to drones. Mr. Buscemi, you have experimented the drone monitoring services in Rome for Natural Park and maybe also somewhere else. And in particular, I'm very interested to understand which is the main challenge among technology solution and solution development, the local infrastructure, the regulation, the use space, the acceptance, and even the economic aspect of the service, because this is one of the points I have in mind, which is the economics behind a UAS operation. And what are your experience about that? What are you doing to improve your capacity?
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. You touched different themes of your question. We did. It's better? Okay, sorry. We planned a project with a natural park in Rome, but we work all day with monitoring services in other places with other client and operation. You should think that the adoption of drones for monitoring services, it's always a challenge. It will require a continuous research and development of advanced technology, both hardware and software. We had to invest our time in research, in software development, data processing software, sensors, and other kind of hardware development. The success of drones monitoring depend on the access of adequate infrastructure. You should think, for example, to places that not have GPS signal or with jammed GPS signal. We started and we developed a solution based on ultra-wideband system that help our drones to operate and work in places that doesn't have GPS signal, and it helped us to help us to work just outside, but inside too. We will see in the afternoon during the demo, we will fly in our test area, in our building, in our company, because this kind of solution help us to develop and to fly indoor. You spoke about U-space and regulation. They are critical and they are critical to ensuring the safe operation. I don't know if this morning I saw a newborn from HENAC. We worked with him for recently authorization for continuously BVLOS in near Naples. It's really difficult and it's hard to understand all part of regulation about airspace control. It requests an in-depth understanding of regulation and coordination of the space. We started pilot project, for example, with Policino and the flight for understand the process that regulate this kind of operation. Public engagement and public acceptance, are also important theme because we should communicate to the people the importance of drones and the rules that drones can be in our cities. And the safety that our drones can be. For example, with EASA, we obtained inoffensiveness report, the DVR, that certificate that our drone is inoffensivity for people that can be fly in overpopulated area. The final aspect, the financial aspect, it's always a challenge. For example, purchase, maintaining the equipment, updating, the team updating, the knowledge upgrading, the recruiting of qualified people and employers are costs to consider if you work in a drone company. We are actuating different kind of strategy. The first one is to continue to develop an technological system to ensure relevant results. And finally, we are trying to optimize the operation cost to make monitoring services increasingly accessible and economically viable.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Buscemi, even for remembering us that cities are not the open part of the city, but it's also the buildings, so inside the buildings. So Alberto, you are the last one of the first round, and in the supply chain of drone monitoring services, top view is working both on the aerial operation capacity and on operational data management we saw just in the previous demonstration. Which is the balance of this sector in your value proposition? Which is the technology or sector, operational sector, are you working to develop this market?
Thank you, Antonio. Well, as we have seen also in the demonstration this morning and the demonstration of yesterday, we decided to focus our attention on tracking services. So that's why we started to develop this UTM box Policino some years ago. And yes, in this slide there is a picture of this device. This device is the one that actually has been mounted on several US operators that and has been used by different space service providers, not only in Italy. And I would like to, first of all, thank all this community because they helped us to improve the solution. Because when you go on, at least when you try to go on scale and not limited on a research project where you have a prototype and more or less that's the end of the project. When you go, when you have to scale up and to, first of all, have to realize a stable solution that works with many drones in the sky, even a relatively simple solution has a lot of challenges. So we had great support for the community because we learned together we had a lot of lessons learned, a lot of very good feedback that helped us to improve the solution that actually is already on the market, and we are still keeping on add additional features. So the example of a certified project that was mentioned in this morning is now in R&D phase, taking this technology that will be tailored for that particular solution. If we understand that at the end there will be this market will be captive and the end users will request the solution. Actually, yeah, if you go to the next slide, please. Actually, there is still, let's say, a gap in this market because the solution should be fully integrated in some space service provider. So this is something that should be offered in a sort of bundle. What we did, and this has been also a very good feedback from this community, is to try to detach this service from the service offered by the space service provider at this stage, because we need a mechanism to exchange data, but this mechanism should be also viable from a market perspective. So who is going to be the final user of this box? For sure, the US pilot or US operator, but we should provide a mechanism that the service that we offer is a closed service, and the US operator or the pilot will be enabled to use this solution also with the different space service provider. This is our let's say, contribution to this market, and the actual solution that we are trying to push, where we integrate the Policino UTM box with different space service provider. Of course, in this slide, you can see an example with the Flight and Sentinel, but we are also integrated the solution with Highlander in Israel. We are trying to integrate the solution also with their system. And our idea is to, first of all, have a sort of confined environment where the pilots knows exactly what is paying for and where is, let's say, the conclusion of our service, and when start the service of the US service provider. So this was a feedback that we learned on the ground. So this is one of the message that I would like to give. There is one more slide about the roadmap that we are going to implement. And so actually we are in a pre-production phase. We are a pre-series of 1,000 units that these are small numbers, but considering the environment, we prefer to progress with a stepwise approach and start with small productions in order to keep on collecting feedback and waiting for a moment when the market will be fully ready, and we will hopefully enhance those numbers and add in the future additional services.
Thank you very much, Alberto. Now I have another round. I would like to come back to restart again with the port topic. I ask you all to be a little bit shorter than before to close this panel in lunchtime. Mr. Tomer, it seems that we have several barriers. We discussed many of them, but it seems also that the industry you are representing here, but the other representative also have clear in mind how to cope with this barrier. Do you think that the solution of your company Airways in the port of Rotterdam is aligned with these barriers, and which is the key development objective of the drone ecosystem established in the port of Rotterdam?
Thank you. Thank you, Antonio. There's definitely lots of barriers, and just look at the previous slides I show, the amount of integration and bringing so many parties together, and some of them are more ready than the others. That's on its own to coordinate that with manned aviation, with non-participating drone. This whole thing is complex, and we're just scratching the surface. When you go into cities, it's more complex because there's more buildings and you're losing connection, and technology-wise, there's quite a few things to overcome. And again, we were very lucky at the Port of Rotterdam because it was the first time. In Israel, Highlander and us, we've done huge pilot in Israel with under our system of 20,000 BVLOS flights. I mean, it's never heard of anywhere else. And when we come to the Port of Rotterdam, we realize, okay, that's going to be, pretty easy. But it wasn't, because when you go to real world and production, this stuff, I mean, with all the respect that we were flying over Tel Aviv, it was still pre-planned. Now it's not pre-planned. Things happening. There's a helicopter. There's somebody broke his leg, somebody in the water. You need to go and do it. So from the operational technical point of view, I think you can all imagine that this thing will take quite a few years to put everything together. Regulation is another thing. So the regulators are facing a real problem. I mean, do we approve those BVLOS flights in mass or not? If we do, there's a risk, but if we're not, so the market is pushing for it. So there's quite a few, especially when we're talking not about now, we're talking about 5 years, and the selection process the Port of Rotterdam did was, they say the only way this thing could be commercialized is not with corridors and segregated areas, is really let them fly freely, but with, let's say, kind of electronic control tower. So you can fly from any point to any point, and the electronic control tower, the automated control tower will make sure they're not going to be in collisions. So of course safety first, but you need volume. If you don't have volume, the commercial operation will fail. So that's I think the main thing. So capacity management is the main thing that we're aiming for. And again, it's coming from technology, operational, regulation. It's all have to come together. But the end game, it should be capacity. Lots of activities so people can actually make money. Otherwise, what's the point?
Indeed. In the end, there is some value and money for the value. Mr. Preda, the continuous transformation into smart port you are pushing can have a role with respect to the city of Taranto in terms of promoting innovation in high technology, and which is the support you can provide to the system, and which support do you expect from the other public organizations? The Port of Taranto, is a intrinsic part of the city and then also the system. So
yes, and we are involving the city in every project that we have about innovation and sustainability. And the city, the municipality is a part of the accelerator, is a part of the other project. And we can give to the city a big support to win the very difficult transition that the city of Taranto and the port of Taranto have in this moment, because do you know that we have in Taranto the biggest steel factory in Europe, and we are waiting for a progress of decarbonization, and the city and the port have a common vision of a smart and green port and city. So we are sure that also the aerospace technology, starting to the port, and above all starting to the monitoring about environment, and about the safety of the infrastructure, about the logistic, can help also the city to have a new step about a smart city. And we created together a very good ecosystem for innovation. And we are sure that also with your help we can continue to have a grow about a smart and green territory in Taranto.
yeah, we are very happy to contribute to this project in order to make our region and make our territory growth and progress toward better life for our citizen. And I would like to come back to the city of Bari. Mr. Ranieri, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Oh, perfect. As again, the city of Bari, we are trying to mix the point of view of the end user, the public administrations, and the one of the industry. Among the solutions that you have seen with us the last years, experimented in the city of Bari, which of these experimentation do you think is better suited for the city of Bari? Which are the other players of the metropolitan areas more than the municipality that we need to involve in the next future?
Thank you for this question, because I have a dream that we could test a last mile logistics solution. I think that in the future this is the main task for each city, included Bari, because we in Bari we need to renovate, redesign all the logistics systems inside the city, because we have many open questions on traffic, on coordination of freight management inside the city, and I think that the logistic topic is one of the most important topics for each city, inside the city, for the last mile logistics. But it is a futuristic point of view. I think that we need many years to define an industrial and a real application on this topic. In the following years, I think that the solutions that are mature and we obviously could approach are in the field of medical supply chain, pharmaceutical supply chain, in a point-to-point solution to transport drugs, to transport medical equipment, to resolve problems of emergency and so on. This kind of test was very good, and I think it is the technology and the solution that we are ready to test in a real case in Bari. But my dream is that in the future we could test the logistics system inside Bali.
Yeah, we will do that. We will do that.
Thank you for this optimistic point of view.
Alon, you know, coming from Israel and your experience in very critical situations, but we don't want to enter into the specifics today. But I think that, as also Tomer mentioned, you have a great experience in, thanks to the previous project in the on UAS operation and US space management. And my question is this one: what is the relevance of the airspace management in making a US operation in smart city or smart port?
Yeah, so unfortunately, in this kind of situation, probably you find a lot of opportunities. And in the background, you can see a real example of how, in this kind of situation, the needs of or demand for USSPs to be active 24/7 is very critical. And last week, the Civil Aviation Authority of Israel actually published emergency regulation, and part of it certified Islander to be UTM in Israel by providing full airspace awareness. The numbers are huge. I mean, we can see more than 1,000 flights a day that you need to manage. It's totally different than the trial that we talked before. And the first thing that they are looking for is the ability to create or to do tracking and monitoring. Actually, before any tactical deconfliction, strategical deconfliction, even geo-awareness, the needs to understand who is flying, where is flying, what he is doing is very critical. And I think the collaboration between us and TopView as a remote identification became very critical in this situation. The ability to take device and actually to track and monitoring and detect every object that's flying in real time became very critical to the UTM. So all the practice and all the experimental area became very relevant in the real time, unfortunately, in this period, but it's a very good example how the drone fleet management that you can see here connected with UTM's, USSP's solution, actually providing full airspace awareness. And more than that, last week, to create a full picture, and all the time when we are talking about use spaces, it's actually the cooperative pilots. What are you doing with the non-cooperative? How you are actually detecting them? So last week we integrated with what we call NCTR, non-cooperative target recognition, with more than 700 sensors that actually providing us full picture of the IFF, identification friends of foe, the ability to detect the blue and the red drones that flying at the same time, and getting a full picture. It's become something very critical. And I think it's not only in Israel, it's a situation that we became an opportunity, but I think we can feel it globally, and more countries targeting to establish a USSP UTM for these needs. And we can see how the aviation is changing, and the integration between the manned and unmanned aviation became more and more relevant. So maybe this stage is a very good opportunity to announce that Islander, by the end of 2023, this year, going to establish 2 national UTMs on top of what we are doing in Israel, and hopefully at the beginning of 2024, there will be a 4th country that's going to join and to provide a full UTM, national UTM, real UTM that's working, and all the ecosystem actually changing very dramatically in the last year in this area. By the way, we are going to do after that this panel live demo, so you can see also with the top view how it's actually working 2,000 kilometers from here by real behind visual line of sight flight in live demo.
Yeah, great experience, and I expect and I hope that also you will share at some point your experience with European partners, and mainly Eurocontrol that is working on the same point. And I would like just to underline one point. You mentioned the cooperation with TopView, and I would like just to make all the person aware that this cooperation started with the participation of Drones Beyond 2022. So this is the mission initiative to create connection, to support innovative cooperation. This is one case, very effective. So, coming back to Dronus and Marco Buscemi, Mr. Buscemi, in order to continue your development and all the solutions and services, which is the support you would like to receive from the smart cities or from the smart other players of your market? Would you like to have requirements? Would you like to have support and experimentation? Would you like to have some pilot opportunities? Which is the most important aspect?
We are happy to told people, as Mr. Prete that told us how is important and how is happy to collaborate with innovative employers. To continue the development of our solution, we believe that it is crucial to obtain the active collaboration with cities. We need to carry out field trials, and we hope to involve the local community to identify areas where we can start to do pilot project experimentation. We are ready to establish strategical partnership with the local authorities and with cities, and in order to develop our system and our services. We are open, and we are working with long-term and short-term collaboration with cities, but we want to communicate the importance of drones and that the rules that can be in cities.
Great. This is actually the strategy we are pursuing, making operators flying and perceiving the benefit to the end user. Alberto, the same question for you. Which is the support you'd like to receive from smart cities, smart environment for this representative of the market?
Yes, I think that at this stage we need data. So we need data to scale up solution, to test not a few numbers, but on bigger numbers. So we would like to have support, facilitation, let's say, for the trials, also in areas where typically there are difficulties to fly and to operate our system. So that would be beneficial for us to have this kind of support from the municipalities.
Good, thank you. My concluding remark is that it seems that we in Puglia, maybe we are representative of many other regions of Europe, we have smart city or smart environment that are pushing, asking for having services from UAS aircraft. So these new kind of services are asking for that. From the city of Bari, we listen about logistic main need. From the port of Taranto, we have about both logistic and monitoring needs, also as a tool for improving the regional ecosystem, regional industrial ecosystem. And we also learned that industry is ready to do that. So I think that we need to look to solve the other barriers, maybe is in funding or regulation that all of you mentioned about that. So thank you for your participation in this panel, to providing us with your very